Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Rabbi Shalli Sadri wa Sulli Amri Walul Uqdatan min Lisani Wafqalu Qawli. I hope everyone is doing great and having a lovely Saturday evening wherever you are, depending if it's your evening, day, night, or nighttime. So today I do have a lovely guest, which I'm really keen to share his story. He's actually based in Central European country, Slovakia. I don't know if you know him or you may have come across his channel. His name is Jan. So, inshallah, we're going to bring him on and let him share his story before I say anything else. So, inshallah, let's bring him on.
Assalamualaikum
Assalamu
warahmatullahi
alaikum.
wabarakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam. How are you, brother?
All good, alhamdulillah. So, living the life.
MashaAllah. So, how's the weather where you are?
It's a bit cloudy, but it's fine. It was raining all night. But yeah, it was good.
That's good. Okay, alhamdulillah. It's been raining all day yesterday and today as well. But it's a bit cold, but alhamdulillah, rain is a blessing. So I would like us to know about your story, your background. So in few words, if you want to take it away, your life story, your background in your own words.
Such a huge question. uh, my life story in a few words. Uh, Sort of
I mean,
like
you can expand
pre.
it.
I guess is it like pre-Islamic story, right? Like what's my background? Is that the question, or is it like
Yes. Yes.
specifically about the
So
conversion?
that would be my next question.
Okay,
My next
got it.
question would be about the conversion. So this is going back into the
Mhm.
background.
Uh, Background. So I'm from Slovakia, and yeah, I'm 32 now, I guess. But I was also, if you count the 9 months, I was in, you know, preborn. So then that's almost 33. Anyways, so yeah, I'm 32. I was born in Slovakia. I grew up as a normal child. Slovakia didn't exist when I was born. It was called Czechoslovakia. Then we had like a split, so we created Czech Republic and Slovakia. So it's a pretty young country. We never had any sort of war or nothing, but it was like very peaceful split. And but I have a half family in Czech and half in Slovak, so it's still like a pretty split, I would say, in that sense. And our cultures are very connected. But I grew up as a Catholic mm, child, which everybody mostly is. That's like 70% of people here. Slovakia is very like a small country. It's only 5 million people. We have a lot of mountains, a lot of villages. Not any major city. You won't find any city like the biggest one is the capital, but that's like 500,000 compared to London. It's nothing. Um, so yeah, it's a post-communist country as well. So there was a lot of economic changes throughout my childhood. So now we live in like this like very strange environment where it's like looking like a Western country, but it has like a communist background or like
Mm.
this post-socialist background, which most of these countries like Poland, Czech Republic, Hungary, they all have this same history. Um, and then so I just went to school, graduated, skipping a few years. I just went to church. I wasn't my life wasn't about religion. My life wasn't about God. It's not as secular as in the UK, but it's just pretty removed from your daily life. Like we would go on Sundays to church, and of course, like the whole village would live this life about like Christianity, but it was never like that deep rooted, let's say, as Islam, for example. Just let's say praying 5 times a day. There's nothing like this in Christianity. So you know, it's definitely less on your mind than Islam, for example. And yeah, and basically I grew up. I went to the university. I lived in the US as well. Then I lived in Czech Republic. I started my company. I became an entrepreneur. And now I'm 7 years into building companies. I have a marketing agency. So that's great for me. So I don't depend on like working somewhere or something like this, so I can pray anytime I want, go to Juma. But I'm
Mm,
already skipping ahead because yeah. But that I don't know if that gives you any sense because yeah, I I I have some like of course like a lot of history and in terms of like my own relationships with my parents, but I think that would take like another episode, like what's up with that. But I'm the only child, for example, so I never had a sibling because my parents split. So I grew up just with my mom. So I never really met my dad that much. Typical sort of a broken home environment. And of course, I was deeply involved in Jahiliyyah, like very, very much since
mm,
14. Like all things you can imagine. I'm sure it's the same in the UK. So yeah, like a very, very typical, very non-interesting life I had, I would say. Like from a perspective, like there was nothing like interesting about it. It was like very average. Yeah, just average person. We never had any money, like completely average life. So I'm not sure it's that exciting, but yeah.
So, subhanallah, thank you for sharing that. I know it was just the vague question going into your story and your background. I know I'm sure you have tons of information to share with us. But moving forward,
Mhm.
so I'm just going to come back to your background of your religion. Did you say, I think I've seen one of your videos where you have actually shared your video and you say you were used to be atheist. Is that correct?
Yeah, I don't think that's something strange because most Christians are atheists when they grow up. Like you grow up as a Christian, but let's say by the age of 15, you no longer go to church, you start drinking, or, you
Mm,
know, and you just adopt like nothing. You just become nothing, this like empty human being. So I think this trajectory is for everyone in Europe is the same. It's not like sometimes Muslims think like this is a Christian like continent. That's not how it is. Like, yeah, you see the churches, like it's nice, but they
mm,
are empty. Like you don't realize it's not like Islam. So even some countries are not ideal in terms of Muslim countries, which don't. There are people who don't practice, but it's different here, where everything is pushed to secularism. Everything is pushed to leave religion. So naturally,
mm,
99% of my classmates left Christianity. This is like a normal, and just like a one guy who stayed, like actually like went to church, he was considered like weird. Like we would make fun of him all the time because it's like, who goes to church? Like just so again, I was very average. I was just adopting anything everyone was doing. I was going with it. So if somebody was drinking, I would do it. If somebody, if the whole group didn't go to church, I would do it. So typical again, uh, yeah, typical guy. But I was actually like working with the priest in the church and stuff. But as a kid, you just do whatever they tell you. Like you don't really question. I didn't have these deep philosophical debates about God's existence. Like I just did it because my grandfather was watching. Like like you don't really think about this stuff as a child or as a teenager. So yeah.
okay.
But yeah, I
So,
was 8 by the age of 17, let's say. Yeah.
so, so is it correct to say, did Islam find you, or did you find Islam? How did you actually come closer to that realization that you need to search into something more meaningful? Um,
Mm.
you know, so when
Yeah.
was that moment for you?
Yeah, it's an interesting question because I'm studying a book called Al Fiqh Al Akbar from Abu Hanifa Rahimullah, who, if you don't know, Abu Hanifa is one of the four main imams and he started the Hanafi madhab, which is like a Islamic jurisprudence, let's say. And he has a
Mm,
concept where I was just today with a sheikh going through it, where he describes people who go to Islam through intellectual route versus people who go to Islam through personal experience. And he considers them both valid as they both confirm Tawheed of Allah, but the intellectual one is less because the personal experience always beats any intellectual proof. Like, for example, somebody had a dream, they need to accept Islam. Like, one of my friends accepted Islam because he had a dream that he's reading the Quran. No, he had a dream about halal food or something like this. And in the dream, uh, somebody told him he shouldn't eat this, this, this. And then it even in the dream he saw the page of the number and stuff, so he bought the Quran and it was the same ayah. Just he just read it, he became a Muslim. Like I had a dream that about this concept of halal meat, and in the dreams someone was telling me I shouldn't be eating dead animals, I shouldn't be eating this and this, and so and he read it in the Quran, so he became a Muslim. It was so obvious, like there's no way this is a chance. Like it would be ridiculous to claim this was a chance just by probability.
Mm,
A dream
yeah.
like this, he never thought about it. So that's much, like, you can, any intellectual argument is not going to defeat that experience. And also Al Ghazali talks about this, one of the other big imams, when your personal experience is like something you can't take away from you, and that's like so important for any spirituality. So I don't think, but I was the other way. So my a firmness, if Abu Hanifa would call it like this, of Tawheed was through intellectual route and more like the Kalam arguments and going into philosophy and things like that, which I don't really recommend that because I'm not promoting it anymore. But it was my journey, because I think everybody's exposed to philosophy and sort of different ideas. Like you can't really hide nowadays from these other
Mhm.
ideologies. You have to be able to think about them. So like if somebody says like, why are you not Hindu, why are you not Jew or whatever, you have to be able to say something. You can't just I mean, ideally you would just turn away, but you don't live in Islamic State where you can just like, okay, goodbye, and just walk away. This was like the age of the Salaf was ideal in that, where they wouldn't even engage in these debates because there was no one else. There was no like mushriks, or there were no people like that in the area, and they wouldn't profess these beliefs like this. But now you're like all together living in one location, like in London. When I was in London, like I watched the street, and there was like, crossing the street was like a Jewish rabbi, some LGBT person, a Muslim, and some guy. Like, how is this possible? These four people have nothing in common, like nothing, and they live in London. Like that. There's no way this can work long term, like 1,000 years from now. I mean, maybe, but I was just thinking about that. Like, what a strange experience. Like, how would people from the past look at that? If they don't have any kind of common values, right? Like in Islamic country, you would live, let's say you would have different groups of people living there, but they would all, let's say, live under the Islamic rulership. But here you can do whatever you want. Like, so there's nothing common. It's so strange. I don't know. I went really off with this answer, so sorry.
No, I'm really interested that you brought this up actually, because living in London myself, I've seen like so many different people from all walks of life. As you just explained,
Mm,
LGBT and all faiths. Alhamdulillah, we are blessed to be, practicing our deen. I mean, like we don't have as such as, oh, you live in what's the society, communist, is it communist country where
yeah,
you are, yeah, where you're not allowed to really practice your
yeah, yeah.
religion. So alhamdulillah, we have sense of freedom here, but let's see
Hmm.
how long is that for. But slowly and steadily, they're taking our freedom of speech away. But yeah, that's a different topic itself. I don't want to go into that. But
Mm,
yeah, um, so coming to your journey, um, I'm really interested to find out your spiritual journey. I know you recently been on Umrah, so
yeah.
just give us a little bit about your that journey, and then before actually you explain that, I just wanted to know that moment, like when did you realize this is it? This is your time to convert, and just a little brief about your Shahada time, please.
Mm. Well, it was just through YouTube. I was just watching some videos. So Mm, I've shared this story before as well, but yeah, it's a couple of years. It took me a couple of years. So I've been a Muslim for 3 years, alhamdulillah, like exactly 3 years, I think, in February. And so before, I think 2 years took me to research Islam. So we started with just interest in these weird. I think Kobe Bryant died, the NBA player. Yeah, it was like that. Oh, yeah, the NBA player died back then, and they were making videos about death or something on YouTube. Like I saw some Muslims talk about death, just like random videos popped up, and like you
Mhm.
can't escape death even if you're Kobe Bryant. Like you, I was like, what? I couldn't like. Why is how is this? What is this? I couldn't like think stop thinking about this. So I kept watching more videos, and then I watched some other, and then I started to get into the debates. In the speakers corner, I would just watch these debates. It was just interesting. So, and I would just say like, yeah, Islam has solid arguments. Like it's not just random. Like pretty good. But I would just disregard it. But so that took me 2 years to research. But then COVID hit, so obviously you're locked up. So just watching more and more stuff. And I was already like since my childhood. I think one thing that's like I was always thinking about like death or like let's say end of the universe. I was also talking to my teacher about this like weird stuff. So I was always drawn to like what is the purpose of life. And I thought there's no answer. I'm just gonna live and die. But I was yeah. So then when they started like giving the answers, I would just investigate them. Like, where do you get this from? Like what? And then I learned about the Quran and everything. And
Mhm.
even before I read the Quran, I already knew I want to be a Muslim because I watched so much videos. Like, and I would be watching like these very intricate like sheikh type of videos like that's aimed for like super Muslims. Like they're not talking, they are using words that normal Muslims don't know. And I would watch those videos. I wouldn't even watch like basic dawah because I would just enjoy them because I was imagining myself as a Muslim like listening to this sheikh and he would just scream at me or something. I was just like, yeah, this is good. So yeah, I would just watch that. I would just watch Juma videos like for no reason. I
Mhm.
didn't know what is Juma. I didn't even understand what is this. um, but there was just something there. I don't know how to explain it. And then I understood, yeah, through the arguments, I understood like there must be a creator. I had to affirm that. And I was already reading like philosophers' books about death, and I made videos on YouTube about death as well, about like Seneca and his concept. And so that led me to Islam because like Islam answers those questions. Like that's why I was going for it. And like it's also a big reminder in Islam for a born Muslim or people who are actually practicing Islam, never forget that. Like this was something that people used to write on walls, so when they got caught up into dunya, they would remind
Mhm.
themselves, oh no, this is like temporary. Like even big sheikhs from like Morocco would have like closet where he would just have death written. So there's the
Wow.
student, the sheikh would just walk in and just like, what's he doing there? And it's just sitting, just reminding himself he's nothing. Like you stop, like to destroy the ego, to do some purification, because sometimes people put you on this pedestal, like, oh, you have this much subscribers or you're this guy, and it's like, no, I'm nothing. Like, and you have to, through the remembrance of death, it's pretty simple to get humbled. So it's like it works both ways. Like even if you're far from deen and you are Muslim, just bring yourself back through that. And of course, when you face difficult, like let's say accidents, or I had some experience where health issues, things like this, they also come. You very fast you stop caring about money or something, and you just think about how to survive. So that just reminds you, like this is the most important thing, the life. Uh,
Mm.
so that's how I got into it. The Shahada, I just said it alone, and then I think it took me a couple of days to say it in front of people. I took my Shahada in Prague, which is in Czech Republic. It's the other country. I lived there, and then I already prayed before. Yeah, I used to. I didn't like Islam. Like I understood it's probably true, so I would be considered munafiq or something like this. Like no, Abu Hanifa say like if you affirm in your heart you believe in Islam but you don't profess it, that's not good. So that was me. Like I already believed it. I would never say it. I would just secret, and I would just pray in my own way. I would pray like bowing down, but I didn't follow the prayers. I didn't understand the timing, and I would just do my own
It
religion.
wasn't hitting you.
Sorry.
It wasn't hitting you that hard at first. I mean, the
Yeah, I mean,
realization was there, but it wasn't that severe. Or yeah.
yeah, because it's a big step to accept something that has so many things behind that decision which you don't understand. Like Islam is very complex. Like you have, let's say, some obligations you have to do which you don't even know what they are, and then there are some sunnah things you have to do, and there are some not obligations, and you're confused. You've never, this is very difficult. Islam requires some help, I think, for most people, because this is a big step. Like, you can affirm Tawheed, you can become Muslim, but still a lot of people leave Islam because they just don't know what to do next. Like, what do I do next? Like, no one tells them, it's like there's no support for this. So this takes a lot to change your behavior, change your values, stop swearing, do this, change, complete change in personality. It takes a lot of so most people don't take that jump because it's like, this is too much. So I was just stuck there, because yeah, you don't understand,
Mm.
for example, what is like Sharia, what is like Islamic banking, and you have to learn it, and it's just, I don't want to do this. Like, why isn't it simple religion? um so that's why
Um,
people delay it, because it's like, it's not just about like, yeah, I believe in Allah and maybe his messenger, but why do I have to go further? Like, and because Islam requires to take action. Like, no, this is like, that's truth, and there's consequences. Like, now you know it, so now you have to follow. You know, and
yeah,
people don't want to
the
follow.
more
People,
implications, yeah,
yeah. So, but there was a
like
moment
you have
I
more.
knew it's true, but yeah, it
So that was your realize. What year was this then?
was like 2020, 2021.
2020.
Yeah.
So we were still in lockdown at that time.
Yes, big lockdown.
Yeah, big one. So, I mean, how is it affecting you where you live? Because I understand there's not many mosques where around you where you live, or how do you practice then Islam?
Well, my journey is a bit strange because now I'm the imam of our mosque. I've started a mosque
Oh,
actually here.
mashallah,
So,
mashallah.
and that's why I'm learning the deen. So I have a different sort of experience where I didn't live here. I was living in Czech Republic, and we've decided to come back with my wife because we wanted to live in Slovakia because we are Slovak. So we wanted to like have a family here. But there's nothing here. Like, in terms of Islam, there's just 4 prayer rooms in the whole country. It's like really bad. Like, it's really
Wow.
bad. uh, like, you cannot compare it to the UK. But I came here with the intention, like, I'm gonna do something about this. Like, I'm not just gonna be like, oh, Islam is for me, and like, this is nice, but I already went past this, and it was like 2 years
Mhm.
in the dean. So I was like, uh, let's do something. So I took 1 year to, in terms of practice, you can still pray and do all your basics, but there are no halal shops. There's nothing like that. But there are brands in supermarkets which you understand which are halal. So they don't have the halal brand, but we knew the manufacturers. We knew, like, okay, this chicken is good. So I don't think it's that difficult, to be honest. I think it just requires more research, because it's not like you have in the London, you have the butchers everywhere, and you don't have any immigrants here. So also, like, you have to understand, like, where are the Muslims? Most Muslims are immigrants. Since there are no immigrants, the Muslims here are usually like people who live here, like some doctors, some lawyers, but they came here for business. And this country is like closed; it's not open as the UK, for example, for everyone.
Mhm.
Uh, so there's less Muslims here, and also converts are here. So, but alhamdulillah, basically, I just spent a year mapping out how this country works, and of course, I traveled to Turkey, I traveled to Bosnia, I've been to Saudi and Dubai, just so I can have my own like Islamic flavor of like this feeling that I'm part of the ummah, because it's not here, right? Uh, but basically, it was just, I felt like this is not possible to practice long term, because we had to drive 2 hours for Juma. Like, this is not going to be long term. I don't want to have my kids to do this. Um, and so I met a couple of brothers, and then one time we went to Vienna, which is in Austria, and they have minarets. They have like a minaret there. It's only 2 hours from here. And we're like, SubhanAllah, look at these guys. There was thousands of Muslims everywhere. Like, they have minarets and everything. Why don't we have like a one thing? So we started with a small room, like a year ago, exactly before Ramadan, a year ago, with a small room, and then it expanded, and we started to do Jumas, Tarawih prayers, things like this, and now we have like 20, 25 people who come regularly, and we are building. We have now a vision to build a community. So we've had a first marriage between the converts. We're trying to build a new Slovak identity as Muslims. So there's everyone welcome. Like we have people from Palestine, from all the world. But the we speak Slovak. We have like we want to have our own like food, things like this. And this is something that always is recommended in Islam. It's called urf. Like you sort of design the local architecture, or you take local culture, clean it from haram, and just don't become Arab living here. That's not gonna work, like be
Mm,
yourself,
mm,
keep your culture, just stay away from haram. And this can attract converts, and we had some shahadas as well. And so this is my focus now.
mashallah.
My mission is not really, I'm not thinking about me per se, like how do I practice Islam, because I can practice the basics, but more about what 10 years from now, can there be 200 people here, and can we have Islamic center? And so this YouTube that I have also, that's the reason, because we've raised like 15,000 euros from it. So people from the all of the world, they give us money so we can pay the rent, and now we can also sustain ourselves, alhamdulillah. So basically, I want to bring someone of knowledge here, maybe in a few months, to stay with us permanently, so this person can become the main imam, because I shouldn't be doing it, to be honest. I mean, it's fine, but there should be someone with more knowledge. And I'm just going through basic akida, fiqh, and trying to study the deen, just so I have some basic level of understanding where I can go a bit more in depth, let's say, with some people who need it. Uh, and I think this is great now, because we have a community, and it's really working. Like people come here to take shahada from all over the country, because they're just afraid, and this is normal. They are afraid of Arabs. They are afraid of these people. Like they will never go to a mosque if it's like 100% foreign. Like this is normal. Imagine yourself going to, let's say, imagine going to like I don't know, Japanese mosque to take a shahada, and you want to become Muslim, and they all Japan, they don't speak your language. It's strange. Like
Mm-hmm.
should like make it easy. Why we make it so difficult? Because I understand to have a converts like that, it's not easy, but there are some examples in the UK. There are some masjids like this, and then in Spain, they have, in Andalusia, they have converts running masjids, and they really work then, because the locals start accepting Islam, which then drives it uh, further than just being it for foreigners. So it's not perceived like this is for them. No, it's for you as well. you know so we try to change this. It's gonna take lifetime. Like I'm not gonna finish this probably, but this is my mission now,
It's
subhanallah.
a
So
lifetime project.
sorry.
It's a lifetime project. So I think
Yeah.
I feel very, when you were explaining this, I'm actually getting goosebumps when you're saying, this is such a positive change to the community. You not only just limited yourself, okay, you accepted Islam, you're not just only limited yourself to yourself, but you're actually trying to spread your knowledge to other people. And what better way to, open up a mosque, and where you're getting too much reward. Mashallah, may Allah
Yeah,
help
and
you, may Allah.
it's always difficult. Like for example, it's not allowed in our country, so how do we go around this? So we have a lawyer who's Muslim, and he said like, we can figure out a non-profit organization, like a cultural center." And they've
Mm,
done that before, so we've registered it, and we there was like back and forth with the government, and we got approved, alhamdulillah. So it's like now we're official, and it took like 6 months, and all these like small hurdles. But if you don't stop at these like very small, very detailed problems, it continues, like continue. And now it's good. Like last week we had the lecture, or was it 9 days ago? And there was a brother who's like really student of knowledge, let's say. He's for 20 years learning Islam, and he was talking about the sunnah of our prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And he was like, I think like 20 people came to listen to him, and two girls who also either became a Muslim, or like they were like taking a shahada, I don't know. But basically, it was just because of that they came. And I also have my YouTube channel in my language, so
mm,
people watch that, and then they know about the place. So we never had any issues, like in terms of somebody would protest or something, because nothing. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, it's important because like you know, I want my son who is almost 9 months now to like have a place to go and feel like he belongs somewhere, because he wouldn't feel like he belongs in either here or here. Because if
Mm,
we would go like we would live, let's say, in Turkey, we would make hijrah. He wouldn't feel Turkish. He's not Turkish, and he would have maybe some good deen, but he
yeah.
would miss his like country. Like, what? I don't belong here somehow. So there's always a challenge, and maybe it's the same from the other side, where you grew up in the UK as an immigrant of a child of a parent who's like second, or you're the second generation, so you're already British, but you're also like kind of not British, where your culture is off. So like,
Mm-hmm.
where do I belong? And so I was like, let's belong here. We just belong here. We just need to implement Islam. Like, it's simple. Like, you don't really need to make hijrah. And subhanallah, even this week, the brothers are moving with his wife here to the city where the masjid is. So we want to make this place a place of hijrah. So people come
Mm-hmm.
here, guys. We need babies. We need to make this community. Like, the vision is not just to pray. The vision is to
Yeah.
have 20 years a big room and maybe a minaret or something, but to have a place where people come to learn the deen, like, but do it like professionally. 20 years, 30 it's gonna take probably. Yeah.
So basically, it's to create the community, inshallah.
Community, not just a mosque, but sort of like a full Islamic center.
Oh, Islamic.
And it's also good for the government because there's nothing like this here. And like, there will be more converts coming to Islam all the time. There are coming, and there's nowhere to go. So why don't just make us official? And it's better so
Mm.
that we handle all these people. Like, it's much easier for everyone. Anyways, I don't know.
Inshallah, may Allah help you. So, coming to your journey to do your Umrah, is this your first Umrah that you performed?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, first.
Mhm.
Yeah.
First time. So, just take us through that journey, please.
I mean, it's also good because since I have a YouTube channel, people know me, and so I had a friend, a brother from the UK who's married to a Slovak Muslim woman. They came here and they know me from YouTube, so we became friends. And his brother lives in Saudi, so he's like a Saudi. He has 8 brothers there. And he was born in Mecca, so and
Mm-hmm.
so he hooked me up with his brother. So I just did my umrah because I just did it like myself. Like, I didn't ask anyone. I went alone. I just booked a flight. I didn't do any agency, none of these stuff. Like, he was just waiting for me, his brother. I knew I need some help, and he did it for me. So the advantage of being sort of also, let's say, on YouTube is that I get to do these things which normally I probably wouldn't know these people. So alhamdulillah for this. But yeah, it was amazing. Like, I was very sick the whole time, but besides this, it changed me because yeah, I mean, the purpose was to clean my soul. Like, really, I just went there because I just needed to cleanse myself, because sometimes it's been 3 years since the shahada, and so I felt sort of I have a lot of sins, and I just was trying to purify myself. What a better place to go than Umrah? And since I don't really have these excuse like you can't or this because of my company, and it was like the end of the year where no one works. I was like, I have no excuse. Even my wife told me, why don't you go now to Umrah? Just go. There's a direct flight to Saudi from here. Direct flight. Direct flight to Jeddah. So it's very cheap. Like €200, I can be in Jeddah tomorrow. So like, why
Mm-hmm.
don't I do it? Like, so then I went, and it was great. Like, I went to Medina as well, and I just it's amazing. I want to have transfer this experience to my son, or maybe let's say in 7 years when there's a couple of kids, like, we take them all on umrah, so they have this feeling like this is the ummah. Like, you live in this like box somewhere on the edge, but this is reality. Like, don't worry, we got this. And that's the feeling you get never in any place in the world. You get like this. Mecca is so special, and Medina as well. And I just changed when I came back. I said I need to learn Islam. Like, I don't have like, I don't mean the basics. I need to learn the like, I need to become some level of um, yeah. I need to go in deep into Akida and fiqh and really learn everything, so I can also because as you know, there are many groups in Islam, and I sort of understood that, but I never sort of picked any madhabs and stuff. And since then, I started following a madhab, and I became like more serious with my deen, a bit more
Mm-hmm.
serious. I implemented more things in my practice, like even just sunnah prayers I was missing, or the evening adhkar, whatever it is. I was just putting it there. So I just want to improve myself, and the umrah is ideal for that because, yeah, if you go to umrah and you don't come back changed, it's a waste of time. I think you have to change definitely.
Yes, I totally agree with you there. So, can you recall any pivot moment that changed your life completely?
Like in Islam, or what do you mean? Like,
Yes, after Islam, after accepting Islam.
mm, change my life completely. I mean, every moment is sort of like that, right? You never know what's gonna change everything. I think my son being born, that's pretty big. Yeah,
Yeah,
being a father is completely new. It's subhanallah. It's Yeah, it's like such a blessing. Really, no one understands this. If you're not a parent, you don't get this. I thought I get it, but it's not like this. Uh, I can't now when I see children suffer. It's like, oh, I can't even watch. Because
yeah,
like I have a baby and I would do everything to protect it. So subhanallah, it's yeah, my son is the biggest thing that changed me, I think, because I also can't
yeah.
do. Yeah, I have to be better in every way for him. So that's great. And yeah, I've named him after one of the prophets. So yeah,
MashaAllah.
it's cool.
So you would say now you want to act like a role model to him so he can follow your footsteps.
Yeah, he's already always looking
Mhm.
at me when I'm praying. He's, coming below me. He's touching my legs, and he hears the adhan from my phone at least.
MashaAllah.
So if like, he knows like now it's time to pray, and he always, and even when I make like the ikama to pray, so I do the ikama, he like
Mhm.
already knows like it's time, and he's like looking. He's a baby, but he's looking at me. He's laughing. So like he will have this image of me doing this. That's very good.
Yeah.
So he can like see like this. My father is doing this. Why is no one else doing this? Like, and I surround
Children
him with other brothers who are also practicing, so he can feel like this is what we do. You know.
children are like sponges, they pick up very quickly.
Yeah.
So now I've got like a couple more questions before we wrap this up. So would you say who's been the most influential person in your life to change your life to a better way?
I don't know. Such a difficult question. I guess
Anyone
recently
you
it's been my
probably
son recently, right? But that's
Mhm.
quite recent, to be honest. Mm, there's not one person. I mean, it's a combination of people I've watched over the years, and I've been influenced by many people, Muslim and non-Muslim. Some non-Muslims gave me great advice as well. So 'cause I was trying to self-improve before Islam as well. I mean, Islam is the
do
ultimate kind of self-improvement.
you want to name like any sheikhs that you probably be influenced by who actually you see
Mm,
them as your mentor?
I try to listen to a lot of people. Mm, I think one sheikh who had a big impact on me is Mohammed Hoblos, but that was like very early on.
Oh
Like,
my God,
yeah,
he's
he's a good
same.
one.
Yeah, same goes for me as well. I think he's so powerful when he's delivering the lectures. It actually goes through your soul. That's how I feel it.
Yeah, I just like that he never talks about these sectarian issues. He doesn't get involved in it. He just gives you the message and that's it. Like, take it or leave it.
Yes.
And he's not into this culture of refuting, debating, none of that. Like, he's just here to give you Islam, and he does it in a specific way. And of course, everyone has mistakes, but I just in the beginning I was like really gravitating to him, not for like the knowledge, but he was giving me the message. I never heard it before, so it was really cool. Now
Yeah.
it's a bit different because I watch more like some scholars, things like this. I have a sheikh. I now it's getting more complicated with different groups in Islam, so it's a bit different. I don't have like a one person to follow. I don't think it's even healthy. I think you need to be able to understand that there's a spectrum of things, and you have to make your own. You have to, because everyone will, you know, especially for converts, like it's such a complicated situation where I became Muslim and people started warning me about other groups, but they would warn me against themselves. Like the group would say, "Don't listen to them." This one would say, "Don't listen to them." This I was so confused. This is so bad because you just think like it's so easy. So why? What's this? I never understood. What's this? Now I get it, but before it was like this is so weird. Um, so yeah, it's just after it takes a couple of years to sort of figure out. Okay, I understand now what's happening. I understand who's doing what, and you
Mhm.
have to find your place. You have to find your place. So like we have people here who completely refuse to listen to hadiths, for example, or we have people who just do Quran with they completely reject like the Sunnah, like they don't even consider it. And I was like, okay, that's pretty strange. Like this prophet brought you the revelation, like you don't even want to listen to him.
Mm,
Even the Quran says, listen to the prophet, follow him. So
exactly.
okay, so there's many groups like this, and I'm just following like I'm a Hanafi madhab. I follow the main Orthodox Islam. That's like the mainstream version of Sunnah wal Jamaa, even though everyone says that, but that's what I am, and I don't have a specific like this Maturidi Ashari Athari breakdown. Uh, I I understand all of them, and yeah, that's what I am. I'm just always learning, I'm probably gonna change in 3 years. I don't know. Yeah.
We all are students. We're always gonna keep learning. So, like, my next question is there any valuable lessons that you have learned after converting to Islam? And this can be for the people who are actually looking into coming to Islam, but they're a bit hesitant to accept Islam.
Uh, the lessons. I mean, it's just yeah, you shift your perspective on everything. So you have this sense of peace, which you can't really describe because that's iman. So you don't have it if you're just trying to find Islam, but it's open, and the sense of like peace is there because you completely surrender to like uh to Allah, and that's something most people don't like to surrender anything, so they don't get that feeling. But if you do it for God, it's the best thing ever. If you just trust Allah and you trust in Islam, it can like really change everything, because even if there's something bad happening, you understand, especially when you learn something more about the deen, you understand everything is by the will of Allah. Everything bad, good, everything is by the will of Allah. So
Hmm.
and subhanallah, you have to always understand that your life has a purpose, and this is all just a test. Like it's not your final destination, so don't look at your things you happened in your past. I had bad childhood as well, man. Like, what do you think? Like, we have some trauma, but this is nothing. This is all of us have this. There's this existence. It's very quick. It's gonna be over very quick, and there is eternity waiting. So either if you're an atheist, there's still eternity waiting for you, right, in the grave.
Hmm.
So just think about that and look how quick life goes. I'm 32. I remember when I was 6. I remember it. Now I'm 32. Like what? If I live another 30 years, like I I know I'm gonna be old very soon. So I'm just preparing myself to die. Hopefully, I'll be able to die as a Muslim, and that's it. Like oh, it's the best feeling because nothing phases you. Even when you see like horrible things in Gaza, for example, or something, you
Hmm.
know that these people are going to paradise. You know it. It's guaranteed by Allah. So it's not like we don't care, but it's like we don't look at that as like we need the Jannah in the dunya. We understand it's not gonna happen. Look at the story of the prophets. They went through so much. Like every prophet lost so much. Like the amount of troubles you're going through is nothing compared to just our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, or whoever,
Mm.
any of the prophets had such a difficult life. They lost their health, their wealth, their money, everything. Uh, Nobody listened to them. So this is in the Quran. This is every story of the Prophet. So you know, this is the reality of the world. It's not gonna go. It's not supposed to be perfect. This
Mm.
world is not supposed to go and be perfect, and your life is not supposed to be perfect. But the media and everybody's telling us like, make this world a better place, make this perfect. But this is a losing game we're playing here. The world's
Yes.
gonna explode. The sun's gonna explode. There will be no universe. Even if you go to Mars, Elon Musk, sorry, that's not enough. So
Yes.
this, if you don't have this mindset, you're always gonna try to improve the environment and the external things. That's not the purpose. You already have it in you, but people just cover it up. So it's just the great feeling, like yeah, I think that feeling is worth more than anything. So that's why it's so precious, iman. That's why, like, you need iman to enter into Jannah, not just good deeds. Because like people can have good deeds, but if you don't have iman, it's nothing in the sight of Allah. You have to have iman. The good deeds are important as well, but iman is separate. Even in
Mm-hmm.
today in Abu Hanifa, I was reading, he separates. Iman is different because good deeds can vary, but iman, you either have it or you don't. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Subhanallah. I mean, the people of Gaza, they have a different level of iman. Alhamdulillah,
Yeah.
mashallah. I don't think I can ever reach that kind of iman. They are just different people from this rest
Yeah.
of
Exactly.
us, I would say. So then, yeah, subhanallah. So, like, just lastly, any benefits do you want to maybe just say coming into Islam for a women and men, especially living in Western society, especially the
Mhm.
time that we're living in? We are surrounded by so many difficulties, such as Palestine, such as Ukraine war. We're just minute by minute, things are changing drastically in the world.
Mhm.
So at the end of the day, we need to hold the rope of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and make our connection stronger with Him. So, how can you just really, in few words, say, this is your benefit, this is your time to come to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this is it. Just do it. Just jump in it and just do it.
Uh, yeah, it could be like that. I just think for there's differences, like for women and men. I don't know. I'm not a woman. I don't plan to be a woman in the future, or I wasn't a woman in the past, just to clarify. So I don't know how they feel about this. For guys, I think it's just logical. Like, if you're a non-Muslim, if you become Muslim, it's much better life. Like, you will be more stronger. You have the best role models in the world. You have a purpose. You have to take care of your family. The gender roles will suit you as well because your fitra as a man is there. I can see it on my relationship since we started implementing all the rules. It's like when you are the main person who's like paying for everything and like taking care of everyone, when people depend on you, men love this. This is what men love,
Mm,
when people depend on them. Like, and they don't need acknowledgement. They just know, like, I take care of this whole thing, and they everybody knows this, and they appreciate them for it, and they are not ego tripping from this. They are just like, they love the feeling. Before I became a Muslim, like few weeks before I became a Muslim, I was still celebrating Christmas, right? And I think my mom and like someone else got drunk a bit, so they needed a driver. So I was like, I'm gonna drive the car, and I felt so useful in that. I remember just what a strange moment. I was driving
mm,
home, I drunk parents or something. I was like, this is good because they depend on me. I felt this sense of pride, like they depend on me. This is what you want as a man. And
yeah.
if you really fulfill your obligations, you will get that. You will get everything you need, and you will also get the reward. So it's like the best thing, and you avoid all the haram, because for men that's the biggest problem. Like, you have so much haram, in terms of like pulling you to your desires or whatever. Like, there you need to create some safe spaces then. So like I don't leave my house that much, to be honest. Like I know what's out there, so I just go
Mhm.
jogging in the forest, or I live in a small town. I don't live in a major city. You need to then make some changes in your life, because you will not be sustainably you will not be able to sustain some of the environment pressures. Like one sheikh said, like, yeah, you can try to be a good Muslim in like springtime in the US on a lake when everybody gets off their clothes and they're naked. Like, try to have some taqwa there. Impossible. That's why he said your environment is more important than what you think. So put
Mm.
yourself in the masjid, put yourself in home, and just live. Try to really seclude yourself from the. I'm not saying live like a monk or something, but uh, be conscious that all these things have an effect on you, and especially men. Even gym has a huge effect. Like I just
Oh
go
yeah.
to very ugly gyms where only all like smelly gyms, really bad gyms, because there are no women there and we don't have gender separation, and it's like really better, because if I go to really nice gyms, there's like 50 women there, almost half naked around me. It's like it's not good. I don't like it, and I just don't want this. I don't want to even look at that, because I know where it pulls me. I've been living my life like that. So it's just, for men, it's the best. And women, just one piece of advice from what I've seen a lot of converts go through is that uh, they have they really are naive, a lot of them, and they fall for these really bad Muslim men. Sometimes they are these guys who take advantage of converts, and I've seen it here. Even they do like nikah for 6 months. This is haram, but they do this
Mm.
just to, they do zina, whatever. They do these things because they know they don't know anything about Islam, so they'll take them to their country or whatever. And these guys are not really the best, but they always they love the idea of having a husband. The girls, I'm gonna find a
Mhm.
Muslim man, he's gonna take care of me, which is, yes, but I would just recommend wait 1 year minimum. Like, just start practicing, and just, even if you meet a nice guy, forget him, or just tell him next year, because you need that time to just be change your identity, start practicing, all that, and then look for some guys, because I knew some girls who, yeah, they have terrible stories. The worst thing is if they have kids, and they just have like 3 kids or something, and the guy leaves. It's like, and so many, really, so many women are like that. So I would just say, you need a valley, you need a wali, the protector of you
Mhm.
from the other men. That's needed. And since you don't have that, because your father is not believer, probably he's not able to have that function. So find some brothers, find, maybe you have some sisters who have some brothers or fathers or whoever who you trust, and tell them, like, you're looking for a man, and they have to go through that guy first. That's number one. Don't go directly to the
Mm.
guys. It's a
Yeah.
nightmare. Like, really, it's a nightmare, from my experience. But it worked for the guys here, because the nikah we did here, both are converts, but basically they were very honest, and we were checking each other up, and we were sort of like friends. So there was no bad intention there. We all knew, like, this is something we want to do, and if you guys see, like, you want to do it, they did it in a halal way, and then it happened. But this is very rare. You have this support. Typically,
Mm.
you're alone, so just be careful with the marriage thing. This is the number one issue that I've noticed. Yeah.
That goes to saying that not just only reverts, newly reverts women find this harder. It's even with born Muslims. This is such a big
Yeah.
dilemma in our community these days, where these
Mm.
women are just sitting at home, want to get married, but they can't find a decent
Mm.
person. So it's a big dilemma these days. So
I
may
would
Allah
just,
help us.
if you have a community, just ask around in the community rather than online, or random guys. Because, like, that's what
Mm.
used to happen in the past. Like, you would ask someone who maybe they have a brother, maybe whatever. I think that's the best way. I don't know about every community is different, of course, but I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a difficult thing. This life is difficult. Yeah.
It is. We're all going to go through our trials. So this life was never promised to be a perfect life. So yeah, we're all going to go through our trials and tribulations. So just
Yeah.
lastly, I really wanted to ask this question before, but why do you feel that so many our Muslim young brothers are so keen to follow Andrew Tate? I mean, I don't know why there's a big hype about him. I don't personally have anything against him. I don't like him, or I dislike him, or I don't like him. It's not one of those things. But why these men are so keen to follow him?
I mean, I think it's logical because basically, I mean, after he became a Muslim, that's even, I think that's when it sort of, yeah, that's when it happened for the Muslim youth. But what there's no sense of like a masculine role model, I think. So naturally, they just gravitated to this the online persona, and basically like so you would need to understand men. It's so simple to understand men, and also like women's nature. Like you can read a couple of books by psychiatrists and you understand what men want is to depend, people depend on them, they want some status. Like all men are the same and all women typically want the same thing as well. So if you get that,
Mm,
you understand why Andrew Tate, because all men to are driven by making money usually, like even I am. And so he's just tapping into that. All his videos are about come to the university, I'll teach you to make money. So you escape the matrix, whatever. You escape the
mm,
matrix by making money. And I sort of agree because I'm an entrepreneur. So it's sort of truth, but it's also like you're not escaping anything, to be honest. You escape the matrix when you accept Islam, not when you make money. You just
mm.
escape like this, let's say, basic, like you have to go to work and stuff. Okay. But you're not escaping the dunya. So
Yeah.
I think that's something that appeals to people because it's not, I think, stressed in our communities, because most Muslims, I assume, young guys are brought up to be doctors or lawyers, and this is not exciting. Like what I want to make, like I would never. I don't know what my son is gonna want, but the traditional route to be doctor, and that's coming from like a sort of an older background when these things were like giving you status in society. But they like
Mm,
the nowadays, like they are on strikes, they don't make a lot of money. Like there's things you can do. Most people will not be doctors, most people will not be lawyers and things like that, and 99% of the workforce is like, subhanallah, it changes every day. So I think it's better off to aim at something else. And really, living in capitalism, being entrepreneur is a good choice. It's just there's so much scams and so much problems. So that's, I think, the main appeal. And also like his focus on like men have the hard life and things like this. Because no one talks about this, especially in the West, because there's this feminist push. So it's
mm.
just a natural like opposite of the mainstream. But yeah, I mean, I think young guys are super impressionable, so that's what appeals to them. Yeah.
Okay. Well, before we end this, thank you so much for giving me your time. Any last few words you'd like to share with our audience?
Yeah. If you want to look at what we're doing, check out my channel, and you can see some videos from our mosque as well. Otherwise, yeah, I hope that you have a great day, and that yeah, you keep progressing in your Islamic journeys wherever you are, even if you're in the beginning or you think you know a lot. You definitely don't. So always try to improve, because there's nothing better than learning about the Deen. Because really, what is a better knowledge? Like what, this knowledge is about the eternity. Like what, becoming a doctor is more important than this. So split up your day and make sure you devote at least a couple of minutes or an hour to learning something about Islam, because it's knowledge that's really key, and it will help you understand your deen better. I think that's my advice.
Thank you. I mean, I really appreciate your time. I know you do probably have a really busy life. So yeah, once again, thank you so much for being here, sharing your knowledge. May Allah help you with your mosque project, inshallah. May Allah make it easy for you. And everyone, whoever's been on here, please go and check out Brother's channel and help if you can build a mosque, do your reward, because make building a mosque is a huge mosque. It is a huge reward in Allah's eyes. So please go ahead and check the channel. And yes, thank you once again, brother. And I see everyone once again, inshallah, in my next video. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.
Assalamu alaikum.